you guys, tonight we are back with another 2-minute mystery book. Ooh, I'm very excited to do this. I had a lot of fun filming the last video, so tonight we are going to be doing more of these. Yay. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the freaking video. This one is called The Case of the Big Deal. Dr. Hiiiii had just ordered a drink at the bar in the Las Vegas motel when a lean young stranger with sun-bleached golden hair and tan cheeks took the stool beside him. After asking for a gin and tonic, the sunburned young man nodded towards the gaming tables. "Name's Clivance," he said. "It's sure great to be back in civilization and hear money talking out loud." The famous sleuth introduced himself. "I take it you've been out on the desert." "Got back yesterday," said Vance. "Washed the dust out of my ears. Had a real-life barber shave off 7 months of whiskers and trim this mop of weed. Then I bought a whole wardrobe on credit. All I had to show was my essay report. Boy, am I ready to celebrate." "You found gold?" "Right you are. Hit pay dirt." Vance stroked his bronzed chin thoughtfully. He lowered his voice confidently. "Listen," he said. "If I can find a backer, I'll take enough of those hills to buy 10 pleasure palaces like this one. Of course," he added apologetically, "I'm not trying to interest you, doctor. Still, if you know somebody who'd like to get in on a sure thing, let me know. I'm staying in room 210. Can't give out details here. You understand?" "I understand," said Hiiiii. "That you'd better improve your story if you want to part some sucker from his money." "What's wrong with Vance's story?" "What's wrong with Vance's story? Do you think that you know?" "I'll give you some time. What's wrong with Vance's story?" Okay, let's find out. Vance claimed he had a barber shave off 7 months of whiskers the day before, yet his cheeks were tanned and his chin was bronzed. Had he really been in the sun 7 months without a shave, his skin would have shown white where his whiskers grew. Oh, snap. I didn't catch that. Did you? Comment down below if you got that. The next one is called The Case of the Bitter Drink. Notwithstanding the 110-degree heat, the 50 American tourists seemed to have arrived in the Mexican village at a lucky time. The initiation of a village youth to manhood was underway. The tour's guide announced. A young man came jogging into the village, sweating profusely. He sat down under a shade tree. Another villager fed him ice, wiped him dry, and massaged his neck and shoulders. The tour's guide took a wooden cup from the local elder. "Now comes the final test," said the guide. The youth, having just completed a 40-mile run, must drink this cup of bitterest poison without changing expression. The guide offered the cup to the tourist. 3 men sipped it and instantly gagged violently. The guide talked quickly, and soon the Americans were making large wagers with him that the youth could not pass this drinking test. Dr. Hiiiii, one of the tourists, never took his gaze from the cup, which passed to the youth undisturbed. The youth drained it without batting an eye. You and the villagers have a neat con game here, Halogen told the guide, but I advise you to refund all bets, or I shall notify the district police. How were the tourists cheated? Do you think that you know? Did you catch it? I'll give you 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see if you're right. The answer is the taste buds of the youth's tongue had been anesthetized by the ice fed him. Damn. Did you get it? Because I sure as hell didn't. Guys, this shit makes me feel stupid. Makes me feel dumb. Well, I hope that you got it because I didn't. If you did, comment down below. And also, I want to hear your score. Story number 3. The case of the blackmailer. I don't mind telling you, Dr. Halogen, said Thomas Hunt, that inheriting the Hunt millions has had its nerve-wracking moments. Do you remember Martin, the gardener? A smiling and bowing little chap, said Halogen, pouring his young friend a brandy. That's the fellow. I dismissed him upon inheriting the house in East Hampton. Well, 3 days ago he came to my office, bowing and smirking, and demanded $100,000. He claimed to have been tending the spruce trees outside my father's study when Dad drew up another will, naming his brother in New Zealand sole heir. You believed him? I confess, the news hit me like a thunderbolt. Dad and I had fought over Veronica sometime during the last week in November. Dad opposed the marriage, and it seemed plausible that he had cut me off. Martin asserted that he had possessed this second will, which he felt sure would be worth a good deal more to me than he was asking, as it was dated November 31st, the day after the executed will. It would be legally recognized, he claimed. I refused to be blackmailed. He tried to bargain, asking $50,000 and then $25,000. You paid nothing, I hope, said Halogen. I paid, with my foot firm on the seat of his pants. Quite right, approved Halogen. Imagine trying to peddle a tale like that. What was Martin's blunder? I'll give you a bit of time to think about it. What was Martin's blunder? No legal will could be dated November 31st. November contains only 30 days. Did you get it? Did you get it? The fourth one is called The Case of the Bogus Robbery. Since she was the richest woman in New York City, Miss Sydney had gratified every whim but one. She had never confounded Dr. Halogen, so Halogen knew that the game of Stump the Detective had commenced again when at 2 o'clock in the morning he was summoned from the guest room of Miss Sydney's Fifth Avenue mansion by the butler, who announced, "Madame jewels have been stolen." Entering Miss Sydney's bedroom, the famed sleuth closed the door and swiftly surveyed the scene. The French windows were open. To the left of the disordered bed stood an end table with a book and 2 candles. The candles had burned down to 3 inches, spilling all of their drippings down the side facing the door. A bell cord lay on the thick green carpet. A drawer on the vanity table was open. "What happened?" inquired Halogen. "I was reading in bed by candlelight when the door blew open," said Miss Sydney. "As you perhaps felt, a strong draft comes in. I pulled the bell cord for James, the butler, to come shut the door. Before he arrived, a masked man with a gun entered and forced me to tell him where I keep my jewels. As he scooped them into his pockets, James entered. The thief bound him with the bell cord and tied my hands and legs with these, she said, holding up a pair of stockings. As he departed, I asked him to have the decency to close the door. He merely laughed and deliberately left it open. It took James 20 minutes to work free and release me. I shall have a beastly cold in the morning, concluded Miss Sydney. My compliments, said Hiiiii. On a nicely staged crime were the fallacy fairly displayed. What was the fallacy? I'll give you 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I might know this one. The candles spilt all their drippings down the side facing the door. Had the door really been left open as long as claimed, some wax would have dripped on the opposite side, away from the draft. That's like some deep knowledge shit. You really gotta think about that. I just knew it had something to do with the candles and the drippings. The last story for tonight is called The Case of the Broken Arm. A knowledge of human behavior is often the explanation behind criminologists' seemingly fantastic deductions, said Dr. Hiiiii. A case in point was the murder of Roger Duffy. Fate to look like suicide, said Hiiiii. Want to hear about it? Can't we just order dinner first, said Octavia. Hiiiii smiled indulgently and continued. Duffy's body was found at 8 p.m., slumped on a park bench, a bullet in his left temple. His right arm, encased in a cast from fingertips to elbows since an accident the month before, lay on his lap. His left hand clutched a .32 pistol. Called to the scene and estimating that death had occurred about 7 p.m. I detected from the contents of his pockets that he had been murdered in his bathroom and transported to the park. Astonishing, you gasp? Not at all, since I realized Duffy's clothes had been put on after his death. It seemed logical that he was undressed at the time of death. The hour pointed to an evening bath. Traces of blood in his bathroom confirmed my theory. Now, you ask, what was in his pocket that proved murder, not suicide? His right trouser pocket held $4 bills clipped together and 52 cents in coins. His left trouser pocket had a handkerchief and cigarette lighter. His left hip pocket held his wallet. Surely you can see where the murderer made his mistake, concluded Hiiiii. Yes, killing Duffy on an empty stomach, said Octavia, filling up on water. Who can clearly think he's hungry? I give up. Do you? Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't understand that one, so I don't blame you if you don't get it, because girl, I didn't get this shit. So where did the murderer make his mistake, I guess? I'll give you 10 seconds, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, let's see what the answer is. From the contents of Duffy's right-hand trouser pocket, Hiiiii realized Duffy had not dressed himself. With his right arm encased in a cast from fingertips to elbow, he could not have fished into his right-hand trouser pocket. His right side pocket would have been empty instead of containing commonly used articles, such as money. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good stuff. Again, that is some deep thinking. You gotta really think about it. That concludes tonight's mystery video. Comment down below how many you got right, if you got any right. Comment down below which one was your favorite story. I liked the one about the staged robbery, because that was the only one that I kind of got. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great night and that all of your dreams